Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. All right, so it is January 1st. Happy New Year. It is 2025, and holy cow, literally, 2024 was like a blur. The last couple weeks been slow. So it's the holidays, and I made the Christmas video, and now I made this video, and then we'll jump back in because I don't want you guys to miss any of the decent stuff over the past like 4 weeks. But I did want to come on and wish you guys a happy new year. So I guess I also, as long as I'm gonna feed and walk around and stuff like that, we'll kind of go over some very high level 2024 and things like that, and just kind of go over a couple of things I've done in the last couple of weeks, because honestly I haven't recorded anything in the last 2 weeks. The last 4 days I've been actually kind of sick, so had like a flu cold bug thing hit me last Friday, and it like came out of nowhere and just bam, nailed me. And for the first time ever, I missed our family Christmas, which really pissed me off. And our family Christmas is literally a quarter mile down the road. So my sister's here and everybody's there, and we're doing all the fun Christmas stuff, and I'm sitting at home recovering. So that really annoyed me, but last couple days much better. And then other than that, it's been Christmas, holidays, honestly not a whole lot going on, and then also finishing up the project at mom and dad's, which we were able to do. So that's been the last couple weeks, so there will be a little bit of a gap once we get back into my regular videos. Kind of 2024, hitting some highlights. I guess our calves, these guys, we did things like, something we did a little bit different this year. If you remember back, we did the hoof tape thing, where I got that new scale, the new digital scale, and then we took a bunch of them, I think it was like 20 of them, and compared hoof weights to scale weights, and found that when they tell you there's a plus or minus 5-7 pound difference on it, that's actually pretty accurate. And so for any of you out there, a reminder, coming this spring, if you want a cheap, dirty way of getting a calf weight, and you can register with ASA, there's just a little checkbox to say you used hoof tape, that's a valid measurement. So that was a cool little experiment. Calving went pretty decent. Had a couple of pulls, nothing major. We did end up losing 2 calves. Going into planting wasn't too bad. We got everything in a pretty timely manner, with the conditions. But then it seemed going from planting to haying, then the faucet turned on in late May and into June, and we were not able to basically make any hay in June. And June is obviously, that's our biggest time. So volume of hay this year in 2024, first crop was pretty decent. That was not bad. Quality was obviously a little lower because just how old it was. Second crop was definitely down considerably because of how late we had to cut first crop, because we just couldn't get out there. So going into fall harvest, the biggest thing I'm sure that you guys all seen if you watch the channel, is that we got back into chopping corn. Hadn't chopped any corn in probably 8 to 10 years. So it had definitely been a good while. So we opted to sell our old Super 717 and we bought the John Deere 3970 and the chopper boxes. Spent maybe a little bit more than we wanted to, but at the end of the day, we have two really nice chopper boxes and a really nice chopper, and enjoying our corn silage. We think it's been a nice addition, and we're just hoping that next year we can get a lot nicer corn silage with some better quality, getting it chopped sooner, obviously, because we did chop it pretty dry, and then getting some inoculants in there, getting a little bit better pack job, and a few more acres too. Probably definitely going to chop a few more acres. I'm just checking out minerals and stuff. Another thing I did yesterday, left over from Mom and Dad's project, we had some gravel, and if anybody had noticed that around this pad, the dirt was starting to get dug out around it, and you could almost get your hand underneath the slab. So we wanted to take a bunch of that leftover gravel and then get it worked in up here so it packs down, and now they have a nice transition again. So did that yesterday. I wanted to get that pile out of my driveway because it was in the same spot that my other pile of granite was, so wanted to get that done because the temps are going back down. The rest of harvest, though, we did have some other issues. Our soybeans were really crappy, but our soybeans got nailed by deer. It was crazy, and probably could use a little bit more starter fertilizer in that stuff, but I don't know, they just didn't turn out well. A lot of it was deer damage. We had seeded down the field behind Mom and Dad's. That one, because of the rain, the one whole corner got completely flooded out. Couldn't really do anything with it. And then the oats didn't turn out the greatest. I think partially because they got such a slow start because of the wetness. It got planted decent, but then when you get all that rain on top of it, then I think it got a slow start and didn't come on. And when we cut it, then we got more rain, so a bunch of it sat out there. We only ended up with like 25 or 30 bales of straw, and we should have had about 60. The other downside, getting into the harvest aspect of it, for picking corn, the field we picked corn on, we chopped those outside rounds because honestly the corn was pretty much garbage, which we knew about. Part of it was because of the herbicide, the weed killer, the herbicide application was not very good, especially on those outside rounds. So we chopped it. Then when we picked it, the days we picked were really good, but we got pushed out to like the third week of November, second or third week of November, because it rained for another 3 weeks prior to that. Because of that, we didn't get any corn stalks because we got everything picked, this sky full, in I think it was 2 days, a day and a half. Yeah, it was 2 days, day and a half, 2 days. So we got all that all full, all done, no problem. And then it rained again. And now you're sitting at the end of November in the on and off again weather that we're dealing with now, which we literally were in the 40s for a week. Everything was slop the last like 2 weeks. It has really sucked for bedding and keeping animals clean. And now everything's frozen again. So, all right, so on to 2025. Now, I will say that I'm not one to I don't like making goals. Like, oh, I want to get this project done, or I want to see this or see that. Only because, and this is probably an effect of working in the corporate world, is when you're told this is your your number one priority, or this is your goal, or this is your goal, and then the next day everything changes. But then at the end of the year, you're like, okay, why didn't I get that goal done? And nobody cares why you didn't get it done. It's just the fact you didn't get it done. But so I don't like doing that kind of thing. But things we want to see in 2025. 2025, probably the biggest thing is it's going to be the year of the baler, I think. We've been doing some looking, some very hard looking, and our baler will get replaced in 2025, whether that's soon or later. Could we run our baler another year or two? We probably could. And I'll continue to say that our baler, if you were going to bale 100 or so bales a year, or just have it as a backup baler, that thing will be fine. But, you know, we want a few more creature comforts, a little more speed. We'd like to get into net wrap as our, you know, to be able to pick up a little quality, pick up a little speed in the baling process, things like that. So it is time. We've had that baler for, it's got to be around 15 years. It has to be. I'm pretty sure it's around 15 years old. For us, it's an early 2000s baler. But, so that guy is going to get replaced. In 2025, we're going to have, in 6 weeks, we're going to have calves. That's probably the next biggest thing on the list that you guys are going to start seeing. I mean, everybody likes baby calves. They always do. I mean, who doesn't? But it's probably always like the most exciting time for beef guys, I think, is calving season. And mostly because, especially if you're looking at it from, you know, the genetic standpoint, you know, did you pick the right bulls? Did you AI this cow to the right bull? And did you like that combination? You know, things like that. You know, like I look at our heifers out here, you know, these guys, I mean, you can kind of see, we got a little dusting of snow last night, but we just bedded them last night too. It has been a terror to keep them clean and keep them comfy, but they're pretty chill. But, you know, you look at like this girl right here, mic drop, and I'm pretty sure her tag's a little dirty. That's the KM 431, so that's actually Puffy Face. If you remember Puffy Face from the summer. So that's a mic drop out of a cowboy cut daughter. And I would say those two mic drops and then that bold ruler daughter we have that's out of a state of war, they are really, really nice heifers. Our two Fleck heifers are doing really well also. And then our number 10, she's doing really well too. All of our replacements in here, I think, are doing really nicely. They're really starting to thicken up. And I think the corn silage is helping with that. They're definitely not eating a lot of hay, and I've noted that before. So part of the reason we did it. But, you know, calving, you start seeing the results of your research and what you've done. You know, we're going to get factor calves this year, you know, which is going to be pretty huge. I mean, he's basically going to have calves in the whole second half of the calving season are going to be all his. So there's probably going to be at least 15, somewhere between 15 to 20 of the calves are going to be his. Probably closer to 20 are going to be his, which is going to be pretty fun to see. You know, was he a good selection? I don't know. Only his kids will be able to tell us that. And we're honestly not going to know that until probably next fall, after we find out how did they calve, how did they grow, and so on from there. And honestly, some people say a bull doesn't even show his worth until you start seeing how good are his sons, how good do his sons produce, and more so, how good are his daughters and how good do the daughters produce? So it could be years before we find out how good Factor is. He'll be gone before then. But yeah, so calving about 6 weeks. Probably in about a month, we'll start bringing in some of our heifers because in about a month, they'll easily be showing. And we should have most of our heifers are bred to AI. I think one might have missed. So yeah, but we did, going back to 2024 stuff, we did have those two back in November that they did slip. And so those two are open. So we'll bring them in and they'll turn into their AI as well. But going into 2025, past calving, it's hard to say like, hey, there's anything really, really big I'm looking forward to. Probably going to plant a little bit more silage corn, or look at chopping a couple more acres. We still want to grind some corn, but knowing where's that balance, and then it depends on what fields we put them on. And then other than that, it's going to be pretty much the same. It's going to be rotating on grass. When we get there, we're going to be AIing. I'm already starting to look at what bulls I want to use. We have most of the bulls already. I mean, we're going to use Bold Ruler. I've got the Kingpin that I'm missing out on this year. We're going to use a couple more straws of him this spring, especially on the two heifers we have. But then seeing what other cows we can get into AI as well. So already starting to look at what bulls I want to use. Not quite yet who I want to use them on. That'll be a little bit later. Once I get a better idea of who is potentially going to be in for AI. Then our bulls, our 4 breeding age bulls, they're coming along okay. So they'll be getting ready probably to sell in mid-June. Well, not June, in mid-May, because we'll probably do breeding soundness in the first week of May, like we did last year. It seemed like a decent time to do it. But then we're into grazing season and haying season and all that kind of stuff. So, once we get past this calving and seeing that stuff, I mean, goals-wise, I don't really have a whole heck of a lot. Other than maybe trying to pick up a little bit better conception, always having a goal of trying not to lose any calves, doing your best there during calving season. Things like, little things like that. I'd rather hit on all those little things than trying to get some big goal out of the way. Plus, we got the barnyard done a couple years ago, and that was, and you guys, that was the start of our channel, was working on this barnyard. So that was one of our big things. And honestly, once we were done, we were like, we should have made it just a little bit bigger. And I guess the only little small personal goal I would have as far as this is concerned, the channel, which, trust me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still doing this. December just turned into a little bit of a slow time because had to focus on Mom and Dad's project and get that done. And obviously it's winter and you guys only want to see feeding so many times. And then being sick the last week and a half and the holidays. So there will be a little bit of a gap when I get you back onto normal stuff. So as I'm recording this, we're at 1,483 subs. So in the year and a half that I've been doing this, I don't know, it's slow and steady, I think. Get some spurts, that kind of stuff. So I guess personally, I kind of like to see, I'd love to see in 2025 the channel double. If I hit 3,000 subs by the end of 2025, I'd be pretty stoked. But obviously, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, try and make the videos a little bit better every time. But, take the subs as I get them, and love you guys to subscribe, because I know a lot of people that watch aren't subscribed, and I'd love you to hit that sub button and support the channel. But I think a little personal goal, I'd love to see the channel double in subs, I guess, by the end of the year, but that's really up to you, and it's up to me to get you guys decent stuff to watch. It is New Year's Day. I wanted to wish you guys a Happy New Year from everybody here at Ohrmundt Simmentals to you guys. Happy New Year's. I hope you guys enjoy your day. I hope you got to spend your holidays with some friends and family and got to enjoy it. Part of my holidays was pretty good, part of it not so good, but that's all right. There's other stuff to enjoy. So I hope you guys liked the video. Just a little sum up of 2024, kind of a peek into 2025. So I hope you guys follow along for more to see what happens to everything going on in 2025. Hope you guys liked the video. Hit that thumbs up button. If you got any questions, if you got any suggestions for videos in 2025, drop them in the comments, as always. And I do like reading the comments. I do like reading them, and I like responding to them. And of course, if you're not subscribed, please do so. What you doing? Just hit the subscribe button to follow along for more and see what we do in 2025. And again, thanks for coming along.